Ever cared so deeply it started to destroy you? Not in some poetic, romantic tragedy. I'm talking about the real kind, the slow erosion, the kind that chips away at your soul while your lips still know how to smile. That quiet kind of self-destruction that wears the mask of love. The kind that drains you while convincing you it's your job to keep giving. You weren't just loving them. You were slowly losing yourself, piece by piece, convincing yourself that your pain was part of the process. You bent, you folded, you twisted into something unrecognizable just to be seen, but they never looked. And even when your gut screamed leave, staying still felt safer than walking away. That's the trap of toxic love. It wears the face of passion but poisons you from the inside. You handed them your demons in a fragile box, and they smashed it on purpose, then blamed you for bleeding. You asked for honesty. They called you needy. You asked for effort. They gave silence. And worst of all, you forgave them. Again and again. They taught you that love means tolerating disrespect. And you stayed. You taught them you'd never leave. So they stopped trying. Every delayed reply, every cold shoulder, that was never accidental. It was calculated. They fed off the power of knowing you'd still be there. They didn't want love. They wanted control. They didn't want a partner. They wanted a puppet. And you were real. That terrified them. They never missed you. They missed the power, the comfort of knowing they could disappear and still find you waiting. They didn't love you. They loved being needed. But you loved honestly. You loved deeply. That's why it hurt so much. You planned forever. They played games. You were gold. They didn't know how to hold something that precious without breaking it. And when you finally left, that silence, that was the shift. That was the moment they realized your love wasn't a guarantee. That's when the silence started screaming at them. No buzz from the phone, no name lighting up the screen, no more late-night texts, just the void. And that's when it began, their slow, creeping regret, the kind they won't talk about. But it lives in them now. Meanwhile, you're not just free from them. You're free from the version of you who thought they were necessary for survival. It's wild how long you can live inside a lie. That they'll change lie. You clung to it like a life raft. You thought if you held on tighter, stayed loyal, gave more, they'd finally see your worth. You gave forgiveness they didn't deserve, patience they never earned. You welcomed them back with open arms and empty promises. Not because you didn't know better, but because starting over felt like death. They convinced you pain was safer than peace, that being chosen halfway was better than standing alone. But the truth is, you were never afraid of solitude. You were afraid of being forgotten. You feared them moving on like you never mattered. That fear, that's what trapped you. But now, ask yourself, how much longer would you have kept bleeding for someone who wouldn't even flinch if you broke? You stayed through their excuses. I'm healing. I'm stressed. But healing doesn't justify harm. You gave chances, and they used everyone to test your limits, not to grow. You made your heart a home for someone who never intended to stay. And that's the problem. Not that you loved too hard, but that you didn't ask for enough in return. You applauded the bare minimum. You normalized being ignored. And they learned you'd always be there. Until one day, you weren't. And that was the moment they felt it. Not love, loss of control, loss of access, loss of you. So don't wait for closure. Don't wait for an apology. Your peace, that's your victory. Not over them, over the old you who believed pain was love. This time, you win. If you agree, comment yes, and don't forget to subscribe.